Hey, Spider Nation, welcome back to another episode of Spider-Man's Tangled Web Show. I'm Jonathan, webmaster of SpiderManFanRave.com, SpiderManFanRave.com. If you're a longtime viewer or listener of this show, you know what I'm talking about. It's my own personal Spider-Man website. I put out articles, I put out editorials, I put out reviews, all the good stuff that you're looking for with Spider-Man. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, if you enjoy celebrating the character, head on over to SpiderManFanRave.com. Speaking of SpiderManFanRave.com, someone else also occasionally contributes to the website. That is James. Say hello to the people, James.
Hi, James.
Good going, James. Way to make an entrance. Anyway, James.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hey, everybody, what's up?
How's it going this week, James? What you been up to?
Just, busy, work, life, saving up money, that kind of stuff. Literally, there's not much to say. I work.
The average life of
school.
The average life of a 25-year-old American male. And I say that sarcastically, but it's kind of true. Not that I would know. As for myself this week, well, I took finals this week, so that was enjoyable. Not really at all. I found out that my trumpet was like kind of broken. Well, not broken, but like
your trumpet's having a baby?
No, my trumpet is like one of my valves has decided not to work. And it's decided that the usual remedy for that is valve oil, and so that usually helps it to work. Yeah, it's decided that it doesn't want to have anything to do with valve oil either. So yeah, that's yay.
So you just saw a video of the Winter Soldier killing your trumpet?
No, I actually saw a video of Iron Man killing my trumpet because he was mad at Steve Rogers because my father made that shield. You don't deserve it. But yeah, so that was fun. That was not an enjoyable thing to find out. I just noticed that those cushions are back there and just randomly back there in the shot. Those are our outside patio cushions that we had to bring in because it was raining, and we didn't really want them to get wet. Aside from that, I'm one-handed still, so that's not fun. I'm starting to realize that this has been kind of a crappy week. Man, okay, I'm going to get off of this streak before I depress myself even more. Okay, but what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we didn't have a movie this week, unfortunately. That was last week. The movies...
Next week we're having a movie. Next week it's X-Men.
Oh, yeah, X-Men. That movie that apparently everyone hates before it's even come out. The reviews are not looking good for that movie.
How many people are going to freak out that, oh my god, Marvel is now bribing people to shun other Marvel properties that are not MCU? Remember, that was the big thing that a lot of DC fanboys are saying. Christian is biased because they're being paid by Disney to talk good about the Marvel movies. And then now this X-Men movie is going bad, and you watch how fast people are going to say, see, that's why fan foresting and stuff fails, because they're bribing them because they're not MCU movies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's complete bullshit. Like,
it is complete bullshit.
And that's just, oh my god, I hate when people do conspiracy theories like that. But then, of course, we also last week we got the reveal of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie suits, which, James, I know you haven't done Angel Grove Radio in like a year, so I'm going to give you like some time here right at the beginning to just give us a little bit of your thoughts on the movie suits. So, James,
I don't growing on me. I mean, I don't know why John would, have me be the guy to talk about this.
Okay, as he just awkwardly gets up and leaves. I guess.
I mean, seriously, I have no idea why John would have me talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I mean, what possibly can I contribute to a topic about Power Rangers? I mean, I have no idea. I have no way capable of talking about Power Rangers. I mean, it's just something that, I just don't think about anytime. I mean, when would I ever think about Power Rangers? I mean, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is that. I mean, it's not like I do anything like I'm a fan or anything. I mean, it's not like I'm a fan or anything.
Oh my god.
But anyways, I don't hate them. You know, there's elements of them that I like. There's elements of them I don't like, but they're growing on me. I think some people are overreacting about the helmets all looking the same. Because if you get a really good, clear, like close picture of them, you can see the different dinosaurs. So they're not all identical. And for the people who are saying they're ripping off ripping off Iron Man, shut up. Stop it. Hashtag stop it. Copyright from Wrestle Reactions. Look at the first Power Ranger movie. They were armor too. They had glowing center parts too. And that came out 13 years before Iron Man 1. Stop it.
Yeah, James, I cannot stand the movie suits. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan.
You have the right to your opinion. That's all I'm gonna say. You have the right to your opinion, and I have the right to my opinion.
Because this is America.
I just love it though how for years an insult in Hollywood when it came to comic books up is, oh look at so and so, he looks like Ivan News. Look at Apocalypse, he looks like Ivan News. Oh look at that guy, he looks like a Power Ranger villain. Oh look at Green Goblin, he looks such like a Power Ranger. They look like Power Rangers. 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 And so far, every single photo that has come out about the Power Ranger movie has been, oh my God, they look like insert here. You get the first shot of the Rangers, oh my God, they look like Team Wolf. You get the shot of Rita, oh my God, she looks like Poison Ivy. Hit the Rangers, oh my God, they look like Iron Man. But your complaints about all those things were that they looked like Power Rangers, and now the Power Rangers are there, and now you're saying they look like those things. It's like, what? Like, literally, some people I saw one complaint was that they look like William Dafoe's Green Goblin. And if anybody remembers when the first Spider-Man movie coming out, the biggest complaint about him was he looks like a Power Ranger. And your biggest complaint about him is that they look like the Green Goblin. Then I guess they got it right because you were just bitching about how a few months ago about how Norman looked like a Power Ranger. So I guess they got it right then.
Speaking of Norman Osborn, he has a son named Harry, who recently changed his name to Harry Lyman, which is a great segue for this comic book right here. Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 4, number 12. The first part of Power Play. So right off the bat, we should make something very clear. This cover right here, I'm holding it, unfortunately, because I can't hold it with my other hand, so I'm kind of blocking it by using my right hand. But
I'm holding it.
Here's the thing. This cover is, most of it's a lie. Well, okay, not most of it, but this part up here with the Avengers, the all-new, all-different Avengers, there's a blurb up here that says Spider-Man teams up with the all-new, all-different Avengers for the first time, ! That does not happen in this issue. James, exactly how long are the Avengers in this issue?
0.00 seconds.
Yes. The Avengers do not even appear in this comic. The only Avenger that shows up is that guy, Mr. Tony Stark.
And that's more of a plug for his own book, not the Avengers book.
And so that's complete BS. And then, of course, down here, it says Regent makes his destructive debut. James, where have we seen the Regent before in this volume?
Oh, in this volume, well, not even in this volume, we saw him in Renew Your Vows.
We also saw him.
And we also saw him, 2-3 times already in this new volume?
We saw him save Harry, Liz, Normie, and Stanley from.
And arrest them and take some of the villains to that super prison in issue 1.
So that's also a complete lie. The only part of this cover that's not a lie is Mary Jane is back, but with Tony Stark, ?
I like how it's that way. I was like, ! Like, she's back with Tony Stark. Like, no, like, if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man, you know that MJ is in the Iron Man book.
Oh my God, it's just, man, that was. I mean, let's not pretend like this is a unique problem. Disingenuous covers have been happening for decades in comics. It's not like this is a unique problem specific to this comic or to this run, but Wow. I actually didn't even notice that until today. I looked at this cover. I was like, man, you lie. But okay. Run down the creative team here. We got Power Play Part 1, The Stark Contrast. Dan Slott, writer, Giuseppe Camicoli, penciler, Cam Smith, inker, Marte Garcia, colorist, lettering, VC's Chris Eliopoulos, cover artist Alex Ross, associate editor Devin Lewis, editor Nick Lowe. All right, let's go. Bryant Park, New York City. Peter Parker and Harry Lyman. Fuck it, Harry Osborn. I'm not going to continue with this Lyman bullshit. All right.
They drop it in his own book, even when even Tony Stark calls for the bullshit.
Oh my God. Okay, so he's trying to put on his rental tux. They stress like 3 times that this is Harry. Come on, how can I stand around in a $1 zillion suit and ask people to donate money to the Uncle Ben Foundation? Why they had to put the Uncle Ben Foundation in emphasis, like asking people to donate money to that, it's just like such an awful thing to do.
I think because the brand name is in all caps, so they're almost forced to.
Like I know that's why they do it for like comic book reasons, but unfortunately that comic book reason just like sort of breaks up the English.
It reminds me of when Lee Carr ever reads a Frank Miller comic, and Frank Miller does that with the bold and all caps on random words. So if you're actually listening to what the character sounds like, it's like, I'm mad at Superman for what happened to me.
Oh my God, that sounds exhausting. But So Harry is asking, Peter, why exactly am I your +1 to this thing? Because, Harry, my last girlfriend wound up being a corporate mole who tried to kill me with my own Spider-Mobile. Think I need a break on that front. Hey, James.
So did they break up? Wait, they tell us they broke up off screen. That's the confusing thing. Like, we don't see them get together on screen. We don't see any development of their relationship on screen. And now they break up not on screen.
I was literally about to
ask the most waste of time girlfriend in the history of comics.
I was literally about to ask you, James, are you heartbroken because Peter broke up with this girlfriend that we barely gave a shit about?
He doesn't even put her in the issue. And I love it how he breaks up with her off panel and then like a little bit of a page later, here's Mary Jane.
It's like he even like, I'm not even sure Peter remembers what her name was because he never calls her. Like he only says my last girlfriend, so it's like he remembers her name.
It's like a few months ago, I told her to John where I bumped into a girl I went to high school with, and she remembered my name, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember her. So I used a lot of you. So like, yeah, I remember you from drama class. Yeah, you sat over there. Like, I use a lot of that, and like, it kind of freaked me out at first, because it freaked me out when she left. She goes, "Oh, I guess I'll see you in our class reunion." I go, "Well, I'm thinking, yeah, that'll be a long time now." She goes, "Oh no, that's like in 3 years." And then it scares the shit out of me. It's like, oh my God, 3 years, well, I'll be out of high school. I mean, in 3 years, I'll be out of high school for 10 years. That's kind of scary. That means I'm getting old now.
All right, but Peter's like, man, I haven't been back to Bryant Park since Aunt May's wedding. Remember that? Was not invited.
Yeah, he was. Bullshit. I remember. I went for my back issues. He was fucking invited. I think he was at the wedding. I can pull it up. I think he's there. And Slott wrote that, so he should have known.
Okay.
Right now to go for my issue 600 right now. We're on the air. Well, John's going to recap and trying to see if Harry's at the wedding.
Go for it, James. Go for it, please. All right, but Peter's expositing about, oh my God, Aunt May's wedding. That was such a drama-filled night. Oh my God. Right at the end when MJ showed up out of the blue, we hadn't seen each other for the longest time, and bam, she crashes the wedding. Man, talk about timing.
She didn't crash the wedding. She was a +1. She was technically invited. She's a +1, Peter.
No, actually, he didn't say that. Okay, I misremembered that. Sorry. That was my bad, not the comics. But all of a sudden, at that moment, Harry says, talk about timing, Peter. I know, right out of the blue. Hadn't seen her in ages. Beyond awkward. No, I mean, she's right behind me, isn't she? Yep. God damn it. Ahem. MJ? Tiger, what are you doing here? Making an entrance. Flawlessly, I might add. Thanks, Harry. Always a charmer. So Peter's like, MJ, WTF, what you getting up in my business for? And she's like, Peter, I'm here working for my new boss. What happened to your nightclub? It burnt down. Oh, well, now that we've got that important plot detail out of the way. So wait a minute. Who's your boss? Who are you here with? Hey there, son. I think I was just in a movie with you a couple days ago. Oh, hey Tony, nice to see you. Oh yeah, remember when we were inside my bedroom and I showed you my webbing and you built me a suit and then we went and dealt with Team Cap. Oh yeah, I think that was a different continuity. Shit. Okay, never mind. Awkward. Hey Tony, thanks for coming. Peter, this is my new boss. Wait, Stark? You're working for Tony Stark? Wait a minute, you two know each other?
Bullshit, he should know they were in the tower together.
Oh, wait, James. Know each other? Tony, all of us lived together in Avengers Tower. Remember that little thing called Civil War? You know, that comic event that the movie that we were just in together adapted? Remember that? Nope, sorry.
I think they're calling out the fact that Bendis doesn't give a shit about continuity, even his own. So since Bendis didn't bring it up, Slot's like, well, Bendis called out my writing, I'm going to call out his. You made it seem like Mary Jane and Tony never met each other before, but I remember because of Civil War. Take that, score one for Team Slot.
Nope, sorry, I'm Tony Stark. I meet a lot of people. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of it all. Tony! Really?
It's hard to forget Peter punching your face in during One More Day. I mean, come on.
So, MJ introduces. Oh wait, James. Here we go. James. This is.
Oh, wait. It's good. Carly confirms he's not at the wedding, but not because he wasn't invited. She goes, since Harry went back to rehab, he's not going to be there, so I need to find a new date. So it's not like he wasn't invited. He was at rehab. Bullshit, Harry.
So MJ introduces Harry to Tony, and he says, "Oh, hey, Osborn. I know. Cornrows give it away. You're Norman's kid. I'm going by Harry Lyman now. Legally changed it to my mother's maiden name. Not much of a disguise, kid. Not meant to be. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm just making a break from my father and being my own man."
This panel pissed me off so much because it's like Slot is addressing the complaint, but it's kind of like that whole thing is when you try to fix a problem, it's still a problem kind of thing. Because he's calling it out that, okay, people said it was a dumb idea, and he's like, but it's not meant to be a disguise. Yeah, it was.
That's the whole point.
You bring witness protection. He goes, well, I'm not in hiding no more.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that.
So you're telling me if God forbid me or John ever had to go into witness protection for something one day, just after a few years, we just change our names to our mother's maiden names, and we can say, oh, we're not hiding anymore. It's all perfectly good.
What about what about, you know, like the big thing that he went into witness protection for, to protect his freaking son? Well, I guess those concerns are just gone now.
Well, he never had those concerns, because remember, according to that final issue of Brand New Day, I never thought about my son.
No, James.
Even though I'm going in witness protection to protect my other son, so I guess both his sons are not like that now. They're both in that same Osborne, but I don't give a shit about my kids.
Oh, so MJ walks away with Harry. Come along, Mr. Lyman. You need to catch me up.
Why does Harry in one of the panels have like that gang member black tear? Go back to when he said, I'm not hiding anymore. There's like is it not only on my issue, but there's a big black smudge on his cheek.
Yeah, I see that as well. Maybe that's just like, I don't know what that is. Might just be a printing error or something. But
I hope so, because it looks like one of the kids drew marker on his face before he left, and nobody is next to said, Harry, you got a little bit of marker. Like, oh, it must have been Stanley or Normie. God, I hate my kids.
Yeah, and apparently they hate you too, Harry. But MJ walks away with Harry, and she's like, "Man, you got to tell me all the juicy stuff." So, Parker, Tony, speaking of making a name for yourself, Parker Industries. What about Parker Industries? Whoa, okay, Peter's getting confrontational right off the bat.
Last time Peter and Tony had anything to do with it again, they were BFF Facebook friends again in the old Avengers runs. why is he now acting like a dick again to him out of nowhere? Like, oh, what about that, Tony? Oh, you're acting kind of weird. We're going to be in different sides of Civil War, so once again, I have to act out of character and act like a dick to you. Okay, fair enough.
Well, I mean, like, we'll get. I actually kind of don't mind that, but we'll get into it in the review section. But Tony's like, you shot to the top from literally nowhere, because. Oh, have you still not come up with an explanation for that? Oh, awkward. Okay, well, yeah. Well, all I'm saying is, while you got it, you gotta flaunt it, enjoy it, man. You need to learn to strut, son. Well, okay. Apparently, Stan Lee came back to this comic and decided to write a few lines of dialogue for Dan Slott. No.
Tony does introduce himself in the book by saying, "Hey there, true believers." So you might not be far off.
No. That's not what I'm about. I'm setting up charities, buying suits off the rack, not throwing money around. Doing this right. Right. Oh, the way your corporate mascot just blew the hell out of a satellite system? Which I actually thought it was kind of funny for Tony to point that out. He's just like, that guy of yours is burning through billions, right? Like, you do know how money works and superheroes work, right? Actually, sorry, I'm not eavesdropping, but it's not billions. Thanks, Harry. More like hundreds of millions. I hate you. Go back to dealing with your psychotic father. Next time he shows up, I'm not going to help you.
It's like Slott's addressing it. See, he's not a billionaire like Tony Stark. He's a hundredaire. And it's like 100 millionaire. And it's kind of, there's a joke in an episode of How I Met Your Mother where they keep on rounding up, I can't remember who it was. One of them was going on a date with like a billionaire, and then they kept on like a millionaire, and she kept going, no, he's only a couple hundred millionaire. Stop rounding up. And so that's what it's like here. It's kind of like, see, he's not a billionaire. He's close to being a billionaire.
But Tony and MJ walk away, and Peter's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe MJ's here with Tony." Yeah, awkward, right, Peter? And so, right at that moment, Tony and MJ walk up to a table. "Anthony, good to see you here, and for such a worthy cause. Hi, Augie. Looking very dapper this evening. And who is your charming companion?" "My new personal assistant in the right hand. MJ, this is Augustus Roman, CEO of Empire Unlimited." I'm sorry, have we met before?" "Certainly not. I'm sure I'd remember."
"Bullshit. I know it's in our universe, but bullshit."
"Certainly not. I'm sure I'd remember." And so Peter's about to give his big speech, and he's like kind of freaking out because his ex-girlfriend just showed up out of nowhere with Tony Stark. And so he's, a little bit flustered.
Speaking of ex-girlfriends.
And speaking of ex-girlfriends who are showing up out of nowhere, Liz, of course, you're here as the head of Alchemex. So who's your date? Not that it's any of your concern, Mr. Osborne, but Mr. Stone is a business associate. It's Lyman, Liz. I didn't mean to. Our kids aren't here, Harry. We don't have to wear our smiles, okay? Tonight, it's just business. Okay.
Oh my God. I thought they were trying to get back together, and now in this issue, it made it all like, yeah, just when the kids are around pretending to be back together, but we really secretly hate each other. What?
Well, okay, look, I've never been I'm no expert on divorced couples, but I'm pretty sure that's not entirely unrealistic.
But I mean, they're acting like they're getting back together with the kid. They're playing nice, having a smile, that way your kids don't see you guys arguing. And then there's what happened in that issue where they were like seconds away from getting back in the bed together, it seemed like, because they were talking about openly, like, trying to make things work and be a couple again.
So Peter's on the stage freaking out. He's trying to give his speech, and he's like, "I'm dying up here. I can face Dr. Doom with a juggernaut. Easy. But knowing you're right there, MJ. And with Tony Stark, everything's wrong. It shouldn't be like this. I've screwed up everything between us, haven't I? I feel."
No, you didn't! How did he screw? Okay, I'm going to bring it up during my review, but this line is what tipped me on my bullshit rant meter, and we'll get to it. That line, just that one fucking line, we'll get to it.
"I feel terrible. Something between butterflies in my stomach and spider sense. Out of the way, fat cat. Look at all of you, the 1%, pulling out your checkbooks and trying to buy back a part of your souls. Well, this ghost sees right through you." Yeah, and that awful dialogue just went right through me. Holy shit. Oh, God. Okay.
It went right through me in the form of diarrhea.
So the Ghost shows up and, starts doing all of his anti-corporate, speeches, blah, 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 blah. And so he's like, "Oh, Gustus Roman, you think you're so innocent, the man behind the privatization of super prisons. You've lined your pockets off of the misery and despair of the superhuman community. You think you're so untouchable. How's this feel, big man?" And he shoots him with
John Cena.
And he shoots
So
him with,
think you're untouchable.
he shoots Region. Tony helps MJ get to cover, get her to safety. And here is, oh boy, this page. Of course this happens now, with MJ here. Good thing she's with Stark. Can trust him to look after her while I take off.
What?
I thought you hated this guy less than a page ago.
Not only that, but I can trust him with her. It's not like he also can become a superhero and be fighting while she's running around her own.
Oh, God.
Which is exactly what happens in the cool panel. How they show how both of them now are like the billionaire guy with the suit, and they both have like press the button and our costumes magically appear. But we're totally not ripping each other off here.
Watson's all over this, which leaves me free to take care of business. Hey, watch this! Mr. Stark, you gonna suit up? Spider-Sense says I'm in the clear. Nobody's watching. You know it. Feel free to post this. Not every day you get to see. Armor's on. Time for the one and only friendly neighborhood Iron Man.
I actually kind of like this panel. I gotta admit these things because it's showing the contrast. How Peter has to go hide, and he's like, "Oh, nobody's paying attention to me changing Spider-Man. This is an awesome break for me." And it's because they're all paying attention to Tony Stark. Like, look at this cool thing. Look at the armor. It's all metal now. Here comes the chest part. Oh, isn't this awesome?
But well, I'll talk about this page later. So Spider-Man and Iron Man both decide to get into the fight. Hey, Ghost, long time no see. Freaky. I was just about to say that. Unbelievable. Will you look at this? Both Stark and Parker Industries corporate mascots. Disgusting. Like being attacked by the Michelin Man and a cartoon gecko. So Spidey and Tony both start shooting their repulsors and webs, respectively, at the Ghost. Spidey, stop! Your webs are blocking my repulsors. No, your repulsors are scattering my webs. Your chocolate is in my peanut butter. Seriously? One, I don't understand that reference. And two, get lost. Ghost is my bad guy.
Really? Really? Peter doesn't understand that reference?
Is not. I fought him for years. Yeah, well, I fought him last. Right. Back when he blew up the Parker Industries plant. Hey, why don't you let the guy who's defeated him the most deal with this? Are you two for real?
God, how old are they?
Dibs! What kind of grown man calls dibs? The kind who's currently being a child in his own book.
John, I don't mind, but I'm going to read a comic book with people acting like teenagers who should be acting like freaking teenagers.
Pathetic. Look at them so-called superheroes squabbling like infants. Tell me about it. Give me your hand. Miss Watson, you shouldn't be here. Yeah, heard that a couple times tonight. Mostly in an inner monologue. Which, okay, I will admit, I found that to be kind of funny.
I like it because she's talking about herself, because I can imagine when she saw Peter, she's like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't be here. This is awkward. Especially with Tony Stark right there and everything that went on in the first Civil War, probably. She's probably thinking, yeah, it's awkward. I shouldn't be there. Not realizing that Peter's papa was like, no, she shouldn't be here. She's tripping me up. So it is kind of cool. It's like it's not really breaking the fourth wall. It's just her putting her hand on it. Because she's talking about it being herself saying it, but we as the reader have seen Peter saying that.
Now, let's get you clear of, whoa, you're pretty hefty there. Aren't you, Tiger? I work out. I'm sexy and I know it.
Well, he clearly has the region clothes like right there torn off.
Yeah, it's, girl, look at that body. I work out.
I'm looking at like, seriously, how many rich billionaire playboys are also superheroes in disguise or villains? All of a sudden, Bruce Wayne shows up, raises his hand. Oliver Queen shows up, raises his hand. Norman Osborn, who's there spying on Harry, stands up, raises his hand. All of a sudden, everyone is pretty much basically everyone at the party just stands up and raises their hand.
And then all of a sudden, you look over to the supervillain side of things. There's Donald Trump raising his hand. Hey,
but you're not a supervillain. Yeah, I'm super hair.
You call that hair? What the fucking hell is that? That's not hair. That's just. I don't know what that is.
It's bulletproof Teflon hair.
I have the best hair. Don't no. I have the best hair.
Let's stop before we get sued, because he does that stuff. He sues people when they call him a millionaire instead of a billionaire. So let's just stop before Trump watches us and sues us.
Oh, don't worry. We don't have to worry about him suing us. You know why? Because his tiny baby hands can't hold a pen long enough to sign the lawsuit. Okay, but hey, let me help out, MJ.
I want to clarify, if Donald Trump lawyers are watching that last remark was all John. I try to stop him.
You're not going to stop me. Oh, my God. Hey, let me help out, MJ. You seen Pete anywhere? Yeah, trust me. Don't worry, he's safe. Miss, young man, please, you don't have to. I'll be fine. Least I can do. Someone saved me and my kids a few nights ago. Just paying it forward. Hey, James.
Paying it forward to the same fucker.
Hey, James. Who was that fellow who saved Harry and his kids?
Literally, I did not care.
I didn't
give a shit about.
And all I know is that he's someone who the cover said never appeared in this volume before. But okay, so
I don't care, John. I don't care about region.
As I turn the page, Ghost, if you're really all anti-corporate now and about fighting the man, you should choose me, because Parker Industries is a way bigger deal than Stark. Oh, that's cold. Good point. You win. And so he blasts Spider-Man just out somewhere into a table. And so Tony tries to take on the Ghost. The Ghost actually does a fairly decent job in fighting him. Spidey comes in, has not much better luck. And so Peter's like, "All right, Tony, we've bumped heads, we fought. The third step in team-ups? We actually team up in every sense of the word. Your multi-vibrational blast went right through him. But what if they had something to vibrate inside of him? Like my web coils. Call it the first Stark Parker Industries merger. No fair. Ah! And so they take down the Ghost. Ha! Check it out. Midtown Manhattan Library. So, from the first scene of Ghostbusters, and we beat him by crossing the streams. Guess you could say, Ghost busted. You did not just step on my quip. Good one, Mr. Stark. Posting that. It was nothing. Oh, it's on. Take my girl and my bad guy? Fine. But when you take my quip, it gets personal.
What?
Yes, James, that's the worst part of that quote. So Peter's just sitting in his office watching it on YouTube. They actually can't say it's YouTube. I don't know, for licensing reasons or whatever. But
comics never do that with YouTube. It's always like you watch or something like that.
But Harry comes in. Hey, just checking in. You okay? You mean that fiasco? Yeah, sorry I bailed. No, I meant all that stuff with MJ. Oh, don't worry. I'm already on to the next thing. Good, because we all need that big brain of yours coming up with bold new ideas. Thanks, Harry. Oh, I'm just teeming with ideas. In fact, this next one's a beaut. Make Mary Jane Watson your personal assistant? Well, two can play it that way, Stark. Pepper Potts, how's it going? Hey, this is Peter from Parker Industries. I'm about to offer you a job. No. But, click. Did Gwyneth Paltrow just hang up on me? God damn it, I knew I should have bought one of those sex toys from our website.
Hey, at least she actually appeared. It wasn't like the last 7 or 8 Marvel films where it's always like, she's over there.
Well, Miss Potts has a company to run. Oh, is Pepper here? I didn't see her. We're kind of pregnant? Oh, God, no. We're
Yeah, like Avengers. One of the other movies brings her up, but they keep on saying, I think it's Ant-Man brings up that Pepper Potts has left Stark Industries, and then Captain America Civil War, it's brought up again. It's like they're like mentioning her. We're like, she's still in the universe. It's just we haven't called the actress, so she's over there.
So, meanwhile, at the cellar, Tombstone and I don't know, is that the Vulture that they're trying to bring in there? Like that old guy? It looks like the Vulture. Looks like Adrian Toomes.
One of the other guys looks like Max Modell too.
I don't know, but
go back to the one page where it's the main, like opposite of the Black Panther, ad.
Yeah,
bottom panel, the guy with the red hair, the full beard, and then the glasses. It looks like Max Modell's being thrown in jail.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not Max Modell, but like it is weird like that. But just at that,
obviously the only one I can make out is Tombstone.
But just at that moment, Betty Brant. Hey, James, we haven't seen her in a while. Betty Brant is interviewing Augustus Roman. Man, this is quite a setup, Mr. Roman. Thank you, Miss Brant. So far, we've maintained a perfect record. No escapes, and every prisoner kept in their proper place. I've heard a lot about the seller's security so far, and while it's all very impressive, I think the readers of the Daily Bugle would also be interested in what you're doing to help reform so many of these repeat offenders. Super criminals. Let's always remember that these are extraordinary offenders, and that requires extra care. And so Regent goes on to explain like what the prison does in terms of, criminals with superpowers, criminals with just advanced tech. They go on to explain that in this universe, the Regent's family was killed in a superpowered skirmish. And so these beings with all of their incredible inhuman abilities, they need to be contained, controlled. They're kept in the right hands. With unlimited powers comes unlimited responsibility. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Ha ha.
So Betty walks away, and Regent walks down a hallway. No, excuse me. Where it looks like Tombstone's being drowned to death.
I'd be surprised if he is.
Which, I like Tombstone. Don't kill Tombstone. I like that character. But Regent walks into his office where, Dr. Stillwell, where do we stand? We are at maximum capacity, Mr. Roman. All containment pods are filled with superhuman offenders. Correct. Then we must begin prepping the next phase. Are you sure about this? Absolutely. The problem has always been superpowers, and the world will be a better place when those powers are in my hands.
Yeah, because normal people are just gonna be able to stop, Galactus and bullshit like that.
Oh, to be continued. Dun dun dun. James, I'm going to let you go first because I've been talking for quite a while here. I'm going to try not to hog so much of the airspace.
I don't think you were, since I interrupted you about 5 or 6 times yelling bullshit.
James, what did you think of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4, number 12?
It's better than the last issue. In fact, this one kind of felt more like an issue of Amazing Spider-Man than the other ones ever did. But it still has I still have problems with it. The art, I normally like this art style from him. It's always really good. But there's just some things like the Harry with the weird kind of like mark, things on his face. And then Mary Jane, like I agree with a lot of people, she looks like plain Jane here. Like she just looks like anybody.
She doesn't like just to interrupt you, sorry for very quickly. She did look a little bit different than how Camuncoli usually draws her in this issue. Like if you go back and look at some of Camuncoli's earlier artwork with Mary Jane, it's very clear that this is it's a different take almost.
She looks like plain Jane. Like there's nothing about her when you look at her. You think Mary Jane. She's just generic girl that they draw for background people with red hair. Like literally, if you're in a freak on go with Mary Jane, I wouldn't even know it was her. I would think it was just some redheaded girl walking by. Like nothing about her makes me think, oh, that's Mary Jane. Besides everybody saying it's Mary Jane. The Harry stuff with the I'm not invited bullshit. Like I looked up, he's not at the wedding, granted, but it wasn't because he wasn't invited. He fell off the wagon again with all the goblin shit that was going on.
He had a pretty good reason not to be there.
Yeah, and the bullshit with the goddamn, oh, that's not really good disguise. It's not supposed to be a disguise. Yeah, it was. It's called witness protection, you idiot. You got the bullshit of the Harry and Liz thing, because, like, literally, if you read that issue with Regent, it's very much hinted that they're getting back. They're at least trying to work things out. And then he or she plays it off as like, oh, we stood in front of the kids. How sick and twisted is that? When your kids are around, there's one thing to play nice and put on a fake smile, pretend to like each other so that way your kids don't see you fighting. It's another thing to give them false hope by outright saying in front of them you're trying to get back together.
Again, I'm not familiar with divorced couples, but I feel like that might be more realistic than we.
Like them outright saying in front of them we're trying to work things out.
I don't know.
False hope here, and they're already fucked up as it is being Osborns.
I didn't say it was right, but still, I mean, I feel like that might actually happen somewhere.
And then we get, when Peter's on the stage, my biggest of my fuck you rant moments.
Here we go.
She's here, and she's not with me. She's with Tony because I screwed it up. Peter, how the fuck did you screw it up?
But James, he was Spider-Man, and he got his mind taken over by Doc Ock, and it was totally his fault because it's always his fault.
No, it fucking wasn't his fault.
But it's always his fault, James. That's the point of Amazing Spider-Man, at least in this run.
Again, but this thing pisses me off. It pisses off a lot of people who didn't like Superior. It's not his fault. Otto wasn't in the fucking right to do what he did. Otto committed identity theft.
That's a lot worse than identity.
It's like saying if I'm at a store and one of the fucking people there sees my credit card and becomes James Mark and fucks up my whole life. That's on me. That's my fault. When I did everything to protect my identity, and it's just one of those freak things that happened. That's basically what happened. And he's taking it as, oh, it's all my fault because I screwed up. How? He does know that Otto, he remembers seeing Otto jerk off the thoughts about Mary Jane, right?
Oh, God, not that issue again.
That's not your fault. Fuck you, and fuck this bullshit. Because it's, once again, bullshit. Oh, she's with him now, and it's all my fault. It's like they're trying to play off, like I said, Spider-Man 2, where it's all like, and here's John Jameson and his new fiance, and it's Peter seeing her there, and that's kind of the feel that. But there, that was kind of his fault, because he's kind of weird when you watch that movie. Like, whenever people ask him, so you got a girlfriend? He goes, maybe, kind of, I don't know. But it's like, no, you ended the first movie and you don't want to be with her. That's not maybe, sort of, kind of. That's, you said no.
Yeah, it's like he was.
So you can kind of, if he said it's all my
away.
fault, then yeah, it was, because he's the one who made the choice not to be with her. This, he didn't make that choice. He and her were like seconds from getting back together after then his mind gets taken over by somebody else, and as soon as he comes back, she's like, fuck superheroes, bye. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to hang out with Tony Stark now.
Because hypocrisy is a wonderful thing.
But that's all his fault. Marriage, hey, I don't want to be with you after this shit. She's the one who said it to him. Nothing was his fault.
So is Peter
bullshit?
So is Peter just personalizing all this stuff, or is Mary Jane wrongly deflecting the blame onto him? I think both parties are guilty in here.
I think it's the writers once again trying to justify why they are not together.
Well, yeah, but like in universe, it's like Peter's personalizing everything, and Mary Jane's deflecting blame. So,
like, there's this internet show I like to watch called Back Issues from Comic Pop, really good. And a few weeks ago, they did their brand new One More Day issue where they reviewed that. It's hilarious because there's two people who never even read a comic book, or I've read very little, who never read One More Day, and even they called bullshit on that plot line. And remember, those are the new readers that Marvel was trying to get with it, and even they called bullshit on it. But that's a different rant for another day. But one of the things they brought up is that, like, they thought that maybe, you know, that's because of the magic of how it worked with Mephisto, that no matter what, they'll never get it together. Like, some people will always justify not getting back together. And this is Peter somehow finding the justification, you know, from the magic about not getting back together. But at the same time, it's stupid. It's bullshit. It's my fault because I screwed up. Yeah, he screwed up by having somebody take over his body and fuck up his personal life for Mary Jane. And then as soon as he gets to control his body again, she bolts out to another city. First, getting some firemen under the explanation of, oh, at least she doesn't have to worry about him dying every fucking night. She still has to worry about that shit. And then he disappears off the face of the earth, never be seen from again, and now she's hanging out with Tony Stark. I know what Peter's thinking. Redheaded secretary assistant. Here. And it's just like, I call bullshit on that scene. It's like, I read that and I screamed bullshit because it was. And then there's some cool moments I like. I like the moment of the different sides of them both changing, and you got Peter, you know, being more of the he's in the shadows, he doesn't want people to see it, where Tony's all like, oh yeah, look at me, here comes Iron Man, bitches. Go see me play by Robert Downey Jr. in the theaters right now. It is awesome. Woohoo!
Team Iron Man.
It's like that, and I justified a lot of the Peter, how he acts in this issue as he's being an immature man-child, but it's his ex-girlfriend. who he may or may not have been married to for years. And so I can see, if you see her with him, like Tony Stark is the quote, your girlfriend breaks up with you, and a few months later you see her with the captain of the football team.
Yeah.
And so I can see him being super jealous. So I think when he's saying all this shit like ghost and all this stuff, he's just talking about her. And he based on what says at the end of the issue, he goes, "You stole my girl, my quip, and my blah blah blah." But my villains, what's bullshit. But still, you can definitely see that being him justify, or Tony can, and Tony's turning around with all this shit, like saying, "Yeah, look at all this shit going on. Where have I seen that before? Me! You're ripping me off. Well, you stole my girlfriend. You're ripping me off. You stole my girlfriend. You're ripping me off. You stole my girlfriend. You're ripping me off." So I can kind of see in the egotistical way why they're like acting like this, but at the same time, the dialogue doesn't fit. It is very high school teenagers. No, she's mine. No, he's mine. No, he's mine. No, he's mine. And then, seriously, Peter, who made pop culture references all over the place in the last few months, including Civil War, the movie with Empire Strikes Back, and he doesn't get the whole peanut butter chocolate thing being a Reese's tie. There's been almost every Reese's commercial since the beginning of time.
Reese's, if you say peanut butter and chocolate, for me, like, I would get that reference. You know why? Because Reese's are like my entire life. So,
but it's like the old commercials always like from the 70s and 80s. It's always like, you got your peanut butter and my chocolate. Well, you got my chocolate and my peanut butter. In fact, Family Guy made a joke about it where it's the car accident and two people when they get in the accident, chocolate and the peanut butter they had in their cars like mixed together, and then the cop who comes in the scene kills them and steals the idea. Like, that's the joke. Ha ha ha. Like, Peter, he's been making pop culture references since the beginning of time. And he's been making a lot of them where, like, he's making references to things that in the sliding time scale he shouldn't even know about. How the hell does he not know about Reese's? Seriously? He knows about other things he's been quipping about recently, but he doesn't know Reese's peanut butter cups? Really? The guy who used to be all about Hostess fruit pies doesn't know what a Reese's peanut butter cup is? Bullshit. And then you got the Regent shit where Mary Jane's like, "Wow, you're really strong and big, and you got a superhero like suit underneath you." Oh, I'm not going to pay no attention to that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. You get stuff like that. There's like that big splash page for all the Civil War books, and I like it how when you open it up, the gatefold, it's like, "Oh, are they going to show us more Civil War tie books?" No, it's a big poster for the movie and books that can kind of sort of tie into the movie. Like Winter Soldier in Civil War and a coloring book. Literally, there's a Civil War coloring book that they're promoting in here. It's just really weird. And so you got that kind of the weird dynamic going on between Peter and Tony, which is very kind of selfish and almost childish how they're acting. You're ripping me off. Well, you stole my girlfriend. They're acting like 5-year-olds. The Pepper thing, it's like, it'd be one thing if Peter made it as a joke, like, "Hey, I wonder if I should call Pepper Potts, ha 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 ha." Like, then that's a Peter Parker moment. He legitimately called her and she hung up on him. That would be like me. If, like I said, let's say history pieces up. Let's say I had a girlfriend and we break up, and then I see her with a guy who I'm jealous of and I think is not that good of a guy or whatever. I know that he dated somebody who was kind of similar to my ex. So I'm going to date that girl. Isn't that creepy as all hell? And then you got the Regent shit, the ending of it, and like I said, I don't give a shit about Regent. Once again, I didn't even realize that was Betty until they mentioned Betty, and then you see the old 60s hairstyle, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I should know right there," with the whole kind of curly, thing she has going on. So yeah, it was Betty, but because we haven't seen her or anybody really ever in the sporting castle, I'm not surprised for not putting two and two together until he called her Miss Brand. And then you got just the recent stuff. Like this last few pages, I was like, literally, I still haven't read a lot of these panels fully through because I'm just like, I don't give a shit about Regent. Just looking through the page, I get the books done by. Sorry, that's it. The Avenger tie-in is at the ending when Regent's just staring at him at a TV screen. It's like that's how I felt like the last 4 or 5 pages when Regent stuff comes up. I was literally just like this. Okay, yeah, Regent's doing something. Oh, it's Betty. Okay, yeah, people are in tanks. Okay, so get the screen. Okay, done. Because I just don't give a shit about this guy. I didn't give a shit about him in Renew Your Vows. I don't give a shit about him here.
So, James, Would you give this book a thumbs up, a thumbs sideways, or a thumbs down?
Thumbs sideways, but it's pointing up. But there's good things I like about it. Like I said, this one felt very Spider-Man. Peter and Harry going back and forth with each other. Some of the dialogue I thought was stupid. Peter and Harry, showing that whole friendship dynamic that they used to always have. So you got that kind of stuff going down. You got some really good action with Iron Man and Spider-Man in the book teaming up together, which is good. So you got some good elements in it. But there's also some bad things. And like I said, and then there are bad things, and then there's bullshit things. And there was a lot of bullshit things in this issue.
All right.
Why keep on going up? I had to dismiss, and it keeps on going to this news for some reason. It's stuck on me.
All right. My thoughts on this issue, like, I don't think it's a secret that I was like kind of roasting this issue a little bit as we were going through it. But I did not hate this issue at all either. I kind of enjoyed it. And like, I'll be honest with you, what James was saying about how this feels more like a Spider-Man comic than any issue that's come out in the last several months. That is probably the biggest reason why I enjoyed this issue. Like, I'll be honest with you, because this felt like the Amazing Spider-Man again. This did not. The last story arc, we'll call it a bump in the road. It'll be generous. But this, it felt like this was Spider-Man again. It felt to me like we had a bit of recognizability with this character. And I think the two biggest reasons that this felt like a Spider-Man comic again were named Mary Jane Watson and Harry Osborn. Yes, I said Harry Osborn. I'm going to say it again. Harry Osborn. But I just seeing them in the book again and having them be part of the supporting cast again, it offset, I think, some of the more ridiculous characterization of Peter that shows up in the book. It kind of offsets that and kind of brings the book back to earth a little bit. So I like that. Something else I liked, I actually like the Regent. I know James doesn't, but I really like the Regent, and it was kind of cool to see him here. And plus, just whenever I see the Regent, it brings back memories of Renew Your Vows. And whenever you bring back memories of Renew Your Vows, that's a good thing for me. So I like.
Well, kind of not for me, because it just reminds me of all the better things I would want to see from Renew Your Vows. And I remember, oh yeah, the villain I didn't give a shit about. He's the one who's in the book.
But I like Regent. Now here's something that I'm gonna touch on. I don't completely like. James was talking about how and we were talking about how Peter's flustered by the sudden reappearance of his ex-girlfriend. That's not what bothers me here. I like that, because here's the thing: if I sit here and pretend, if I sit here and am angry over Peter being flustered by the sudden reappearance of an ex-girlfriend that he's clearly still in love with, like, to be honest with you, I feel like if either one of us did that, it would probably just be disingenuous.
No, I'm not mad about that he's flustered that she's there. Like I said, Spider-Man 2 handled that same scene, and I like that scene in Spider-Man 2. My problem with it is that he said, it's all my fault, I screwed it up.
Yeah, it's like, I get that part, and it's like, I think we can both agree, James, that when we've been in similar situations like this, yeah, we can understand being flustered and have it be awkward.
I mean, it's awkward as all hell. Like, when I was a teenager and I went for a breakup when I was in high school with my one ex, Cassidy, like, she started dating another guy, and we tried to be just friends, and that's, like, almost impossible. And not only that, but it was kind of weird, because I got my first volume of The Essential, and that's from the Ned and Betty stuff, and that's, again, you relate to the character being a teenager, because I can relate to Peter, where it's like, when he's hanging out, like, yeah, Ned can come along with us, Betty, and then deep down he's thinking, I want to kill the son of a bitch, I want to kill the son of a bitch, it's so awkward, and I can relate to that, so it's kind of weird how that happens,
Yeah, so it's
that we can relate to There's Your Girlfriend and she's with another guy, which any guy can relate to that, but at the same time, it's like if I saw her, and I know we broke up or something that wasn't my fault, like, I had zero fault in it, I'm not going to think, and I fucked it up because it's all my fault. I'm not going to think that way. Because it's not my fault. I'm going to think, yeah, too bad it happened what happened. but it wasn't my fault, and that's what makes it worse more, because it wasn't me breaking up with her or something I did that made her break up with me. It was something like, here he's taking the blame for what Otto did, and it's like, no, Otto did this shit, not you.
But like, we get all of this, and I don't mind Peter being flustered. What I really, really freaking hate is the degree to which they try to play him up as a man-child and an immature baby, pretty much. Because,
we can agree on that.
Because here's the thing. It's like, it's one thing to be thrown off your game and flustered. Like, when he was up on the stage and he was bombing, just because he was so focused on MJ, that's realistic. Like, I'll be honest, that's pretty realistic, I think. And when he's, sweating and nervous and all that stuff, when Mary Jane all of a sudden shows up, that's realistic. But here's the thing. When he and Tony suit up and they start squabbling like children because Ghost is my bad guy. Well, I've been fighting him for years, but I fought him last. It's just like, I hate both of you. I hate both of you. Like, I really do. And when you have Regent and Ghost pointed out, it's another example of this comic where I keep finding this, where the comic is trying to do what it thinks is self-referential humor, but it's just making it worse. It's like when you point out your flaws and you don't do anything to fix them, it's not funny. You're just digging yourself into a deeper hole. So that I hated the entire fight with the Ghost. That was awful. I hated the Harry Lyman moment with him and Tony. That was, I think James already covered that pretty well. I don't think I need to add anything to that.
That's bullshit.
It's bullshit. But
and can I just add one more thing? It's still so freaking weird. Everything that's going on with Harry and everything. It's like, me and you both have a copy of this.
Yeah.
It's like this handled this Harry storyline so great, and then they brought him back. Because Spider-Man 3.
But the last, like, the only other things I really want to complain about, I hate the page where I hate this page where they're mashing together Peter and Tony suiting up, because it's just like, once again, you're pointing out the obvious problem that I've had with this book, and it's that it's the Amazing Spider-Man masquerading as Iron Man, and I don't like it. And when you're just shoving it down my throat here, it's getting even worse. So I don't think
see, I took it different than you. I took it as, because his pals are saying, like, he doesn't want people to see him, and Tony does. When that inside where this book should have went with him and this first guy, which is, I'm not Tony Stark. It's one thing for him to say it, but then do everything like Tony. This is him, like, literally, like, doing it, like, he's hiding under the table, make sure nobody's looking at him and changing and inspiring. That's classic Peter Parker. Like, if he was not rich, pretty much.
Yeah, I guess the big thing that pissed me off was the intersecting of the lines, "Your friendly neighborhood Iron Man." It was just like, no, just stop. And then I hated the moment when he tried to hire Pepper. It was just like, that was just, I can't even get into how petty and ridiculous that was. So
I think I said it best, where it's like, if your ex gets with somebody, so then you're going to try to get with his ex. That's the most creepiest thing ever.
Overall, I give this issue a thumb sideways. It's not terrible. It's not great. Part of me wonders exactly how much of this issue, how much more positive I am, just because it feels like a Spider-Man comic again. But I give it a thumb sideways. There's parts I really like, and there's parts I really don't. So it's like, it's pretty much complete neutral ground. It's like as middle ground as you can get. So that's really all we have to say about that issue. But there is one more thing that we have to talk about this week that came out last week, and that is the Free Comic Book Day issue. Well, not really issue, but Free Comic Book Day story that was put in as a backup to the Captain America Steve Rogers Free Comic Book Day issue. By the way, May 25th, Captain America Steve Rogers, #1. Go buy it, please. Please. I'm so excited for this book. This Zero issue only made me even more excited. It's going to be awesome. But James, we're going to turn it over to you because you're going to be handling the recap for this story. This is a Dead No More prelude. You know, that Dead No More story that we've been teasing since the beginning of this volume. Dan Slott's been in interviews talking about it. We've gotten teaser images, been speculating who is the man in the red suit. Well, this isn't really going to answer any of those questions, but it's a prelude story. So, James, will you please do us the honor of taking us through Dead No More number 0, or as it's officially known as, the Free Comic Book Day issue?
Peter is swinging by doing Spider-Man shit, and all of a sudden there's shit going on with the Man in Red and Kingpin and Rhino, because Kingpin's dead wife shows up, and then Kingpin freaks the fuck out like you should when you see your dead loved one, like nobody else has been acting, and he kills her. Him and Rhino starts to fight. Spider-Man shows up. I'm making this a really quick read because it's really not really that much of a story. Spider-Man shows up. They fight. They all fight. Spider-Man actually does Spider-Man stuff and doesn't need to call on help from anybody, and he actually gets the job done by himself. It's pretty awesome. He swings away, and now he knows it's okay. This is pretty weird. A lot of villains who I'm connected with, loved ones are coming back alive somehow. Diary, make sure I remember this and keep a tab on this, so if this shit happens, I already know about it. Okay, thanks. That's pretty much what happened. And anyway, and then we see more of the Man in Red, and he's talking about Spider-Man, how they're going to give him a deal. In fact, the Man in Red says he's going to give him one hell of a deal. And then after that, we see, oh my god, it's Gwen Stacy, dun dun dun, to be continued, Dead No More.
And I just realized I forgot to give the creative team for this story. So we got writer Dan Slott, artist Javier Garon, I apologize, colorist Frank Darmata, letterer of VC's Travis Lanham, assistant editor Devin Lewis, editor Nick Lowe. Now, I
got a free complicated question that's kind of off topic here, but when did War Machine and Captain Marvel start dating? I'm still kind of confused by that.
I have no idea.
So it's probably what people online are joking about, that Ben is just once getting to give him community that they're dating emotional ties to Civil War.
But yeah, so we didn't really give a big in-depth recap of this story, and that's because there really isn't much story. It's just Peter notices some dead people are up and alive, and then looks away and just forgets about it. I mean, like, that's pretty much the only bit of story actually in this, besides the final page with the man in the red suit and the Anubis mask. Now, this is the main point. The main reason I wanted to actually talk about this is because after James read this story, he texted me immediately and said, "Oh my God, the man in red is Mephisto," because he says he can cut Peter one hell of a deal. So, James, I want you to kind of elaborate on that, because I'll get into my thoughts on that, but it's just...
I think they are purposely doing the stuff, and it's going to go where in the Mephisto stuff, but they're saying that, oh, it's just a red herring, and it's going to be Jackal, because it's obviously Jackal that's cloning and so on. I think they might pull a bait and switch, where it's either Jackal, it is Jackal, but he's working with Mephisto, or it's Mephisto possessing, Miles, or Mephisto, I think, does have some kind of tie in here. Because there's some things about Spider-Man villains that Jackal shouldn't know about. Like Kingpin having a wife, I can understand, but other people, he happens to know that they had dead loved ones and like all this stuff. Like, it's kind of weird, if you ask me, that he would know all this stuff by himself. But then again, the Jackal and the coincide did a lot of weird things. So I think it's either he's working with Mephisto, or I think Mephisto is pulling the strings somehow with this. And that's my way of going. Like I said, it might be this dance off being like, guys, we're not bringing back the marriage, but we understand that you guys are mad about continuity. So, boom, the books happen. Because he remembers now, him and Mary Jane were married. It's just he's not going to do anything about it because it's all his fault. I think that's the route they're going to go with. I think that's what they're going to do.
I'm hesitant, really, I think, to say that.
I mean, there's a lot of clues that are pointing towards Mephisto. A lot of clues. The man in red, and in one more day, it was the woman in red. Like the tagline for this is very similar to One More Day. I think what is it like? What would you do if you had all your loved ones back, or something like that? Kind of similar to what would you do if you had one more day? Peter brings up Mephisto in Miles's book. You know, all cut you one hell of a deal. Anubis mask, which ties into the dead and stuff like that. And, people say Warren because of Jackal, but if you go by the movie The Omen, and a Jackal, so they can go down. So that's why I think there's a team up there going on. Hint that Mephisto has something to do with it. I mean, it could just be a bait and switch. It's just Miles Warren, but I feel like it was just Miles Warren. Why would he change to a red suit and be all man of mystery with a new mask? It's really weird.
And
if it was Warren,
here's something I did notice this week about this teaser that I don't really think I ever paid much attention to before. There's a hell of a lot of fire there. And
a lot of people pointed that out.
See, I didn't even think about that before. There's a hell of a lot of fire. Fire of hell.
Hellfire, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe this is something. Maybe this is Mephisto. I'm hesitant to say right now. I'm sure the Jackal is involved somehow.
Yeah, like I said, chances of them getting back together from MJ, 0. Because I feel like they're just going to have me that Peter. They couldn't even end it with just be Mephisto being the villain, and then Mephisto says, "I know something you don't know." Bye. And then Peter doesn't even find out about the marriage thing. That road, even they don't want to.
But I don't even. But like, part of me feels like they can't do that because it's like you put Mephisto in a Spider-Man book and he just does that. People are going to be even more pissed off.
That's why I think Peter is, if it is Mephisto, like I'm not 100% betting everything on it being Mephisto. I'm just saying I'm leaning more towards it being. But I think if they do it, I think their master plan is just to have Peter remember the deal.
It would be. I'm hesitant, but I'm interested. Like this is getting me a little bit more interested in Dead No More. Like it really is. I will admit.
Like I could like one reason why I said I think it also could be him because think about it, Parker Industries. The whole thing about Mephisto is you're going to be happy swinging single, but a party or so is still going to crowd and egging you for each other. I think he's going to look at this like, yeah, you're a billionaire now running a company, getting laid a lot. It was a really bad deal I made, so I'm fucking with you now that it burned you.
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll say that.
What are the better odds? That they're going to trust that Asian chick that he was dating or it be Mephisto? What are your better betting odds? That it's Mephisto and Dead No More, or we're ever going to see that Asian chick again in the books of Amazing Spider-Man?
To be honest with you, I think it's more likely to see Mephisto. But, I mean, I don't think either one of us has any more to say on this. That was really the main thing that we wanted to hit up. It's just we might be seeing a Mephisto return, which would be interesting.
Like I said, I'm not betting everything on it. I'm not 100% saying it's Mephisto. I just think that right now I'm leaning towards that. It could all change when we get to the real story.
All right, but that's pretty much going to do it for this week's reviews, and that's also going to do it for this episode of the podcast. We don't really have anything else to talk about this week. So James, any shout-outs or final words for the listeners before we sign off?
Not much. A shout out to to normal awesome things because awesome things are awesome. I literally have nothing to shout out to this week.
My shout out this week: Marvel, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Dan Slott, Giuseppe Camuncoli, all of them. Thank you for Spider-Man. Thank you for the comics reviewed this week. Other shout outs: Supergirl season 2. Hell yeah! Yes.
Is it on CBS or did they get moved to CW?
It got moved to the CW, but I don't care. It's still happening. Yes. I'm so happy. So
that's gotta look bad though for that show. Like they put a network, primetime, big network, and now it's just another superhero show on the CW.
Whatever, it's still happening. So yay, Supergirl.
Which is really weird now because they went out of their way to explain the network crossovers as they're two different worlds. And now she's fucking on their network.
Stop ruining this for me, James. Just, yay, Supergirl. All right, that was awesome. So, shout out to Supergirl Season 2. I'm very excited. What else do I have to shout out to this week? Shout out to the Captain America Steve Rogers free comic book day issue. Go read it. Go buy Captain America Steve Rogers #1 on May 25th, please.
Shout out to the Fox executive that announced today a Fan Stick sequel. And I mean, shout out by I wanted him to hear this. That sell it back to Marvel!
Shout out to Michael B. Jordan, who apparently just got cast in Black Panther.
Oh God! If you got cast there, then yeah, fuck it. That's they want to do a sequel. Yeah, they're okay. Because literally, it's not just Michael B. Jordan. There's a lot of actors from that movie. Was almost ruined, but thank God I had another movie coming out a few months later, like a Michael B. Jordan and the girl who played Sue Storm. I can't think of her name right now. They both had movies that came out a few months later that saved their career. Everybody else in that cast are saying we're almost blackballed from Hollywood because they don't want to touch us after Fan Stick.
I don't know. Where's Miles Teller right now? Is he still? I don't know what he's been up to lately, but
because a lot of them are saying that they don't want to do a sequel since they pretty much got announced today that they still want to do a sequel. A lot of them are like, no, because I don't want to get typecast for this nearly killed my career. Because I'm going to interviews and people are saying, oh, you're in Fantastic Four? Yeah, we're not going to cast you.
Yeah, so shout out to Michael B. Jordan for that. What the tagline for the article was? It was yet another Human Torch is looking to be saved from a Fantastic Four movie by the MCU. So yeah.
Listen, Fox. Do either a Spider-Man deal or sell the rights back up front. You got X-Men. You got a big popular Marvel entity that you can make money out of and give them middle finger at the MCU that they don't have it. Let Marvel. And when I mean the four, I mean them and Skrulls and Galactus and Doctor Doom and all the things related to them. Not just that supposedly bullshit deal that you first tried to cut with Marvel MCU where it's like, no, we want to keep the Fantastic Four rights. But if you want Galactus and the Skrulls, yeah, sure, just take them. With Daredevil, where the rights for Daredevil went back to Marvel. Fox's counter when Marvel said, yeah, we also want Fantastic Four, they go, we'll give you Galactus and the Skrulls, but that's about it. Wait, you want to take two really popular major characters for free, but not all the Fantastic Four when you can make money off these things? That's fucked up. Like, there's even talks that Fantastic Four 2 might go direct to video because they want to keep the rights.
Yeah. Do not make a second Fan Stick movie, please. So, yeah. Just shout out to... I don't even remember what that shout out was initially, too. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for joining the MCU. But other than that, yeah, I think that'll about do it for this week. That concludes, I think, in total with all the episodes we've done, like including our past Spider Nerd shows on iTunes and everything. This is episode number 92. So, yeah, 92 episodes in the can.
So we're 8 away from 100?
Yeah. It'll be awkward.
That's actually pretty
bad. It'll be awkward because we'll be saying, hey, happy 100. I know the YouTube episode title says 57, but happy 100.
Maybe we'll pull what comics do where it's like a new volume, but if it reaches like issue 100 or 200, 300, 400, they always like renumber it back to the old number.
I don't know. That's like what, 8 weeks away, so I got time to figure that out. Yeah, I got time to figure that shit out.
Or you guys do what DC did during the New 52, and they'll just name the issue like 900, and then they'll have every panel like reference 900, like what they did with Detective Comics.
All right, but yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. We hope that you have a fantastic week ahead of you. I know it's like Friday night, so it's the end of the week now. So from this point on to the next show, we hope you enjoy your life. I hope I start to enjoy mine again as my hand becomes, like better. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope to see you next week. Yeah, that's pretty much all. So see you all later.